Hi, I'm Cindy Cloward with Riley Blake Designs, and today's project is a zipper pouch with grommets. It's meant specifically to go in binders, and it works really well in this beekeeper binder. And we know Lori Holt likes her So Simple shapes in the binder, so we also have this zipper pouch to hold sewing supplies. And look how well it works together. So there's our binder. Let me show you how easy it is to make. These are the supplies needed. The first thing you're going to work on is the zipper portion of your project. This is a 14-inch zipper. You won't need the full length. That is why your two fabric pieces are a little bit smaller. I just kind of center them on both sides, kind of put it over and put a pin in. The first section you're going to sew goes over top, right sides together of your zipper. So I'm going to throw a couple pins in there. I am using home deck weight fabric. I like the little thicker feel of this weighted fabric. Okay, I'm going to take it to the machine and sew down the side of my zipper. Okay, bring it over here. I'm going to flip it back, give it a press. Just give it a quick press over. Finger press it back, just like that. I'm going to top stitch that, but not until I get my other side sewn on. So I'm going to line that up with my piece I just sewed and put a pin in it, just like that. Take it to the machine and sew on the other side of your zipper. Give it a good press, open it up. Now I'm going to take it back to the machine and do a top stitch on both sides. Okay, we got our zipper sewn. Now we're going to sew it to our vinyl, our Clear View vinyl, which is our window, to our zipper pouch. I'm going to do right sides together. So I tend to do clips on this instead of pinning onto the vinyl. So let's take it to the machine and sew. Okay, we have sewn our zipper to the top of our vinyl. Now we're going to flip this, our 2-inch strip, right sides together and put our middle piece on the bottom, flipped with the right side up, and that is going to be, all 3 layers are going to be sewn together. Okay, let's take it to the machine using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew from top to bottom. Okay, bring this down, finger press all along there, and top stitch from side to side. Okay, after finishing the top stitch on the bottom section, we are going to add our batting and backing piece. Now it is wrong sides together because we are going to put a binding around all of the sides. So we line up our top piece And you can pin the corners, and I'm going to baste it. You could probably pin it and put it on your binding, but it's easier if it's basted in place, and then you can trim off your zipper. Put your zipper pull in the center. Make sure that's secured so it doesn't shift when you're sewing. And do a basting stitch around all 4 sides. Okay, you've basted around your project. Inspect it, make sure everything is caught, and make sure your zipper pulls in the center, and you're going to trim off the ends of your zipper. You can use your rotary cutter. I recommend not using a metal zipper, so it'll ruin your rotary cutter. Okay, so that's ready to go. Everything's cut. You've got your binding. I cut a 2 1/4 inch width of fabric, and that is enough binding for this entire zipper pouch. So I am going to stitch it. So I'm going to put it on the back and pull it forward. So you can clip it. So take it to the machine and sew on your binding. Okay, I've sewn the binding on the back side. I'm making sure I've caught all my edges. Looks good. Now I've got to put my 2 ends together. All right, our binding's half sewn on. Now it's time to flip it forward. If I was hand stitching, I'd sew it to the top and hand sew it on the back, but I'm going to machine sew it on the top, so I finish it by top stitching the binding to the front or the top. Just going to take that and pin that all the way around. Right, let me take it to the machine. Okay, we have essentially finished our zipper pouch. Now we just need to add the grommets. So you can get a grommet tool from a hardware store. Pretty handy tool to have. So I'm going to get out one right here. Get one grommet. There's a top and a bottom. Get out the tool. But before you apply your grommets, you need to figure out where they're going on your project. So not all binders are standard, so I usually measure ahead of time and mark where I'm going to make my holes. So I fold my project in half like that, do a finger press, and there is my center mark. Again, I'm just going to recheck, make sure that is accurate. Actually, that was not. I'm glad I rechecked. So it's right here. My center is right there. So if you've got your binder, I'm just going to There's my center, and to my first ring, it's 4.5 inches. So I take the center here, 4.5 right there, do a little X, 4.5. Do another reality check, make sure they all line up on your binder. They're good to go. Because now you need to make a little hole. So get some sharp scissors. I like these little stork scissors, can poke through all the layers. I'm making a big X. There we go, poking myself. So you make a big enough hole that you can put your grommet in there. So the hat part of the grommet I like to put on top because I like the look of this on top. Again, you just need to make your hole not too big so it goes outside the grommet, but big enough that you can fit this grommet in the hole. So just like that, it's coming through nice and snug. See how it looks on top? So I'm going to flip it over. This is how this grommet tool works. This is the hard part on the bottom, that you fit that little hat part on top of that little stand. And the top of the grommet looks like this, goes on top of that little hat part and around, wraps around. You take this tool and you're going to hammer it in. Now I'm told you got to manhandle this so it goes in nice and tight. I think I did it. So take off the bottom and look at it. Looks good. Sometimes it's not that easy to pull off. And our first grommet's in place. Now you just repeat it for the other two. So let me finish up. We're doing our last grommet. And it's finished. It's all ready to be used. Let's make sure it fits. Perfect. And it's just that easy to make a zipper pouch with grommets.